Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. New week. Could be an interesting week. The next 2 weeks could be pivotal. Hold on here. Let me turn on music. So oh, not like that. Oh, there we go. So yeah, we got a couple of numbers coming out here, and the market seems to believe that the Federal Reserve is going to back off on interest rate hikes come September meeting. So all of the prints that we get in the next 2 weeks are incredibly important, especially those inflation prints. We do have a little bit of news here at the bottom of the hour, I believe. No, maybe not. Oh yeah, it's not at the bottom of the hour. It's at 8 o'clock. We get PMI today, so that one is a key one. Let me come over to the charts, just show you what happened over the weekend. Treasuries pushed up pretty aggressively on Friday for no apparent reason, but here this morning they are coming off a little bit. At least the initial move since the open has been to the downside. We'll see if that continues. In the S&P 500, a little bit of a risk off from the Asia session, but then overall not a whole lot of strong movement. Coming over to oil, not looking too hot there on that chart, man. And we got natural gas. Yeah, natural gas still coming off. Gold and silver starting to look good. Of course, they've been, a lot of this movement, really everything I'd say below 1800 I was kind of like, what? So for them to recover that maybe is just like a return back to the mean or to the range that they were in. But man, that trend looks awfully nice, right? And then we got copper. Copper is on a good trend. So that is promising. Copper, a good proxy of global growth. Then we come over to the Bitcoins. So Bitcoin had a little bit of a run here at the end of the week. It's coming off of that a little bit, but the big thing that we've been having here lately is that the dollar has been coming off a little bit. We're still in the 105, and it has a long ways to come back before things are really like, back the way they were, let's say. But this is a positive development for risk assets at the moment, and that is basically where we are at. So, again, at 8 o'clock, we have ISM manufacturing PMIs. We're looking for a reading of 52.3 versus a previous reading of 52.3. That, of course, is in 90 minutes. Let's make sure we got our news squawk running here. And how are we doing? We got everything? Yep. Okay. Sometimes I get to the end of my, beginning blurb, whatever, and I realize that the stream has been private the whole time, or you can't hear the microphone or something like that. So, anyways, and then we got the music going. I did some things with the music, so we won't get the ads. So I think we're in a good spot. Okay. Now I need to fix my treasury, so that's the first thing, is that we are like rolled over. So 2Y, and we should be now on August. Yes, okay. Man, 2Y is not a lot of liquidity, huh? What's the matter? If Seth's not going to trade it, nobody else is going to? What? Come on, there's got to be at least people on the 10-year. Okay, there is some volume on the 10-year. There is some volume on the 10-year. 30Y. August. Okay. So I think we're good on those. And these other ones should be on you, right? Yeah, you. I'll move this over here. And also I have, oh yeah, there it is right there. Okay, cool. Okay, and now next thing I want to do is check a Twitter, huh? Here's going to be an interesting month, guys. Let's see here. Nassim Nicholas Taleb, fooled by randomness, entertainment du jour. The S&P 500 fell 1/10 of a standard deviation overnight. This deviation is one part of information for greater than 50% parts noise. Bloomberg is explaining something totally random. You don't pay them for information, you pay them for entertainment. And what was the headline that they were posting? U.S. equity futures fall with oil as rally wobbles markets wrap. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily matter. It is such a good point. The thing that I find really weird is that the well, not really weird, but media outlets, they have to put a headline out, and sometimes they don't have anything to go on, right? I kind of feel like tweeting to him out. Well, it was only an hour ago. Oh, there are comments. I'm like, why aren't there any comments on this? I want to go read the comments on this Twitter. I really need to do better at Twitter, guys. I don't understand what you got to do to be successful on Twitter. I really don't. I really don't. Yeah, it's not random. They have to explain something. Yeah. Azim is deep and long, so there you go. He does make a good point, though, in that particular instance, though, I think. What message did the Fed want the market to hear at last week's FOMC? It will be cleared up this week. This is the Fed speakers for the week. They are all out in full force tomorrow. Be ready for hawkish. I mean, I think so. That's the way I'm leaning, at least. Market does seem to be going my way quite aggressively as well. Did you see that? So there is a little bit of fight here in micros. We'll see. But here is the picture in question. So tomorrow, Fed's Evans will be out. New York Fed releases a second quarter household debt and credit report. Mester takes part in Washington Post live event. Bullard speaks to money marketeers. Fed's Mester discusses the economic outlook. Those were not on my list when we were looking at it yesterday, were they? Let's come over here to Forex Factory and see if those are listed on their calendar. This week, buy settings. They are not. So it seems that we have a number of Fed speakers on the docket that aren't going to be. But I do kind of agree with them. Like, so the thing was I came out of that meeting and the market moved up and everybody interpreted that to mean like, oh, the market is up because the Fed's being dovish. And that was not what I heard at that meeting. What I think happened was that the Federal Reserve is staying the course. And the market moved up just because there was, pent up orders from end of month rebalancing. That's kind of what I think happened. Now they're going to come. Now we had the big one was Neil Kashkari, and he was out last night, I think it was, basically saying, well, market seems to believe X is going to happen, but I don't know what it is that they're seeing that makes them think that, right? It was the perfect reflection, I think, of how I personally feel about the market at the moment. Okay, well, now that was kind of weird. We had like a good 2 or 3 ticks down in the 10-year, but the micros did not move at all. Well, I'm wondering about the large market makers are not on there. They're like one lots on the insights. Is this all being dominated by retail traders at the moment? This is a little curious. Well, they did come back a little bit. There might be a little hole at 31. Let's do that. We don't really need to see that 6J in the back there at the moment. Could also be steepening. I do see the 2 and 10 seem to be steepening. They come right back down to the bottom there pretty easily. I say one of the things about this trend, it's been a pretty persistent trend, and this is what we've seen a lot of, is you get a pretty persistent trend, but not actually a ton of volume on it. Like, nobody stands in the way of it, I guess you could say. So, we'll see how far they go. We're still a ways off from like the overnight lows. The overnight lows were at 28, so we could definitely see more. Brannigan Barrett, please do not ever buy anything from anyone off a social media platform. Use common sense, be warned. I'm being impersonated. I have nothing to sell you but a few trade ideas and lessons along the way. Oh, I bet you are selling something. You got Axia, okay? But yes, you could be careful, because there are a lot of scammers out there. Like people just trying to impersonate other people, you know. The widespread, and the social media companies do nothing about it. I don't know what is going on there with that. There you go. There's some further downside movement. Jim Iorio. Any derivation of rent control necessarily makes rents go higher, always and everywhere. The people who institute these policies know this. They just hope you don't know it. I've never heard the take that like the people that implement these policies, they know that. But I don't know. Maybe they do. Heuristic: if the dish doesn't have a name, don't eat it. What? If our reality was actually an alien soap opera, our ratings would be rocket stars. That's Elon Musk. 14 hours ago. With that was a pretty good push to new highs. Micros are not moving as much as I would like to see on that kind of a move, but it must be because we are steepening. Like, you see that? The 10-year is kind of lacking it and fighting it. Well, it wouldn't take much to paint the tape, right? So I'm a little concerned about the 5s here, though, man. What's with that? Really, everything but the 10. It's like a large market maker decided to just exit the market. Well, that pullback was a little bit more, right? Coming back 4 ticks that time. you got to be careful here, because something that we have seen is like we get a push like this that looks really strong to the downside, and then it completely reverses, right? That has happened. And this little pullback on the way other way, well, there's not enough in the volume to really tell me anything, but it did come back. Trading in the current conditions is a little hairy here, because the volume is a little it wouldn't take much volume to reverse you, right? Well, there's a downtick. Five-year not really coming though. Let's reset the DOM here. Ed Morrissey says real disposable personal income has fallen 5 quarters in a row. Only massive and highly unusual trade surplus in Q2 saved us from a negative 2.3% GDP rating. These are not signs that economic anxieties are immediate invention. You know, this is something that I've been seeing a lot of people mention lately. They're pushing back against the idea that the jobs numbers suggest that we're not really in a recession. And I think that this metric that Ed Morrissey is pointing out here is a really good one to point out. So basically, if we were still in a hot job market, then companies would be willing to pay up. But instead, what we're seeing is in many instances, companies are offering people less than what they were making before. And that's after inflation. Like, real inflation is really bad. So that we're not seeing that inflation push through into like higher wages kind of suggests that the labor market is not nearly as strong as it may appear. Iron ore prices soared as China plans market centralization. Came back down to 30 pretty easily, but so far they're not taking that 30. There's a little bit more liquidity left behind in that 30 to 29 area. If sellers are able to push through that though, okay, they took through 30 and 29 half pulled. There's still 29 and let's say 28 half, because there is 1200 there. But below that, then you could get a little bit of a slip lower, right? Like, that was a good pullback, but this thing is just really slippery. So there's 1,000 contracts, 29. They take another 1,000 at 28 half, because the 28 half didn't pull. Well, okay, there half of it pulled. The 5-year is leading this leg down too, by the way. Glad I reset my DOM so I can see that. So is it flattening back out again? 1540 at 29. So a little bit more volume here as we hit new lows. It was a new low because 34 contracts hit 28 half. Not new low of the session, mind you. That would have to be 27 half, I believe, right? Yes. Because the previous low was 28. Kyle Bass tweets, China's PLA just posted a new video on WeChat that projects an invasion of Taiwan. The frictions between the US and China continue to grow as a result of China's militaristic belligerence. The good news is the fact that China's PLA is having significant issues with tests. Wait, what? I'm not gonna read that headline that Kyle Bass just posted by the New York Post, but that is an interesting one. That's from the New York Post too. The Street retweets Ellen Chang recession debate shifting to question of when, not if. Isn't it interesting? We've had 2 negative GDP prints, and there's all this argument over are we really in a recession or not? And meanwhile, economists are still saying, well, we expect to be in a recession in 2023. This is like, okay. Okay. S&P 500 trending down with all of this too. Okay, not a new overnight low yet, but awfully close. Come on. All you need is one order, guys. All you need is one order right there. 27.5. Anybody? Anybody? There you go. Thank you, sir. That's a new low in the 10-year. Actually, I think that's a new low in everything now, right? Yes, sir. New low in everything. And our micros did come through. I was kind of hoping at this point we'd be more like 2.706. Maybe I was paying up more than I thought I was. But the liquidity situation there in the micros looks a little bit better, at least in the 10-year. The other instruments are still like, what the heck? Somebody did buy the 2. You can see there. I'm interested to see this guy gets paid or not. 2.941. Pulls back again. By the way, how is the volume? Is the background music fairly background? You know, we've had a pretty good downtrend here to start the session. It does kind of make me wonder, as soon as the pit session starts, they start selling it here today. Is a little curious. Octavia says it's too loud. Sharp and Goose says it could be a little bit more back. Oh, okay. So you're both saying it's too high. You're both saying it's too high. I'm gonna leave that 50%, and I'm just gonna bring it down here by two decibels. Actually, if you're saying that, I'm gonna make it 3 so that you can notice. What was I about to say? Getting flash flooding across the Midwest. The western U.S. is in a severe drought, but you're getting flooding in the Midwest. Funny how the weather is, huh? I think what I was gonna say is that this trend has been kind of messy. But you know what? The liquidity in the Treasury zone, very good. It's maybe getting better. It's maybe getting better though. I mean, we've got a couple 1000s out on there, and even like a 1600, 1500 above us. I think now is a good place for me to reset, kind of laying things back up again. Okay, there is some liquidity there, 27, and below us, 25. I wonder if anything below that. Not necessarily, but there is matching liquidity down below us in the 5-year, though. Nothing. Oh, actually, there is. Yeah, well, only at 142, which is, you should always expect to see something like that. It's curious that there's not any in the 30-year. Haven't traded the futures very long. Just this summer is the book thicker in other parts of the year. So generally the book is thicker. Like the summer is unusual trading. Okay, the summer is usually illiquid, and you got to be really careful placing orders out in the summer because, man, I'm telling you, your orders have impact. Even your tiny little one lots. And there are situations when nothing's going on in the summer where even your tiny little one lot can cause the market to move against you. All right. So especially in the summer, I wouldn't be taking a trade unless there's like a larger reason for you to be taking it and you're really confident the market's going to move in your direction, right? But even just outside of it being the summer, liquidity has been very light in the treasuries all year. Really, things never really recovered. Like we had really bad liquidity during COVID. It kind of recovered, and then when we started seeing volatility at the beginning of this year, the liquidity disappeared again, and it's basically been around 1,000 ever since then. Like normally I would expect to see 3,000, 4,000 even. And then, like high liquidity periods would be where you're like 5,000 at every price in the 10-year. Okay, so it's fighting around a little bit here. Again, very slippery moves. 1,000 at 25 in ZN. Yeah, is that just one lot? That's 1,000 of that in at 25. The lots at 25 and 19 are interesting to me. I find that interesting that you've got those ones, but then there's absolutely nothing below us in the 30-year. But that could be a function of that we appear to be flattening again. Anyways, kind of, yeah, on sim for now, but glad to hear it's it is unusual. It is unusual. Usually moves this slippery typically are more driven by currencies, but this one right here, it's kind of hard to decipher what's going on. I am seeing a little bit of a change in the volume here on this last pullback. Sim trade on 10Y? Nah. I think what Biljin is saying is why not just take live trades on 10-year? Wow, that came back so hard. Wow. Okay, so I'm not hearing anything on my news squawk, but I am hearing on Twitter, Christophe Barad tweets Pelosi to land Taiwan Tuesday night. Meet lawmakers Wednesday, says Liberal Times, being reported by Bloomberg. That could be the driver behind the little slip to the high here. Oh, is the trade sim? I don't trade sim on micros. No. So hyped for the Pelosi visit, rooting for her. So this particular headline is not the first headline from media outlets claiming to have a source on Nancy Pelosi's itinerary, and many of these conflict with each other. Okay, there was one that was saying Tuesday, there was another one that said the 4th. I do suspect that she will land in Taiwan and it will go through without incident, although lots of bluster from China. But I really do think that that's what prompted that quick sweep up to the highs. And I'm not so sure that that particular headline matters as much as the forces trying to reprice the treasuries based on the expectations of Fed hawkishness this week from speakers. So here's how I read this, okay? And I've only recently started to notice this pattern, but it very clearly happened last time around. So you have the Federal Reserve meeting, market kind of takes it dovishly, and the market reaction may not have anything to do with what's said at the Fed meeting. And so immediately they say, oh yeah, no, we don't want the markets thinking that's a problem. So then all of a sudden there's tons of Fed speakers coming out everywhere. It's like they're on television and stuff, and they're meetings that aren't on a calendar, right? Like apparently tomorrow we're going to have like 4 Fed speakers. None of that is on is on the Forex Factory calendar right now, right? So I think that's why the treasuries are selling here this morning, is that they're going, okay, the Federal Reserve doesn't like the way that the market reacts, and they're going to come out and speak more hawkishly, right? I think that's what's driving that. Does Nancy Pelosi matter so much? I'm not so sure. I personally don't think that's going to, in the long run, be a big deal. But I mean, there definitely is some risk there that could start a larger war with China. I don't think it will, though. I think that what will happen. Here's what will happen. Because China's saying, oh, like we can do stuff and we will, stop her plane from landing and all of this sort of thing. She'll land before they even know that she's there. That's what will happen. And then the U.S. will have this big PR thing about how she was able to do it without the Chinese noticing. And that's what probably happens. But for now, they swept right back to that 121 liquidity hole. Not good for me. Was going well. Well, this could go either way. If there's a large meta order selling, I think that the large meta order is, would love to take advantage of this, and I think that they did to some extent there on that little leg down. Like, look, somebody is buying into 0.0 half, and there's an iceberg there. So the seller is taking advantage of the higher prices, but it's still in the air. Maybe the seller gets filled and the buyers continue to push down. Some liquidity at 0.2. Well, that was not very good, so I think I will bail. I don't really like those little things that come down at the bottom of my screen. I want to see if I can change that. The window preferences? Yeah. Let's see here. Maybe it's under alerts. Oh, suppress order fill alerts. There we go. She tweeted her itinerary, but it never mentioned Taiwan. Yeah, so yeah. So my average fill buys was 696, really? Okay, well. Hum. I think that just kind of messes the trade up, and we just kind of have to be hands off for a little bit, huh? At least until the ISM numbers. I wonder though that this selling could be a trade on the ISM. I mean, it is unusual to see that degree of a trade ahead of significant news, but the reversal off of the lows is much more significant volume than we had on the way down. So I really don't think I can justify staying in that position, and I really can't justify taking a new trade up in here, right? That might just mean, ugh. I hate it because when I took that trade and I was up a little bit and it kept trending down, I was thinking, oh man, could I have caught the one where, like, I'm right at the beginning where the market starts to reprice hawkishly again and I get something that I can really hold? And now this all kind of screwed it up. I still think that hawkish pivot could happen, but if it does, it might be while I'm not here, or it might be in a situation where I can't take advantage of it. So I'm a little disappointed at the moment. But you know, how much did I lose on that? It was like $12, I think. 14 isn't terrible. If today is just a down day, it'll suck to have 2 down days in a row though. So I did lose on Friday too. The one on Friday was a little upsetting, to be honest with you. It's a little more upsetting than this. But is that so now the other thing that I have to be thinking about is, was that just the Pelosi news? Probably not. Probably there was some buyers overall in there as well. So, Today, to quote the Beastie Boys, today is tricky. That was a tricky trade. It really was. I wish, you know, my financial juice. Boys, what you doing? I haven't heard anything from them. Maybe I have things wrong. Do I maybe have something set up wrong? It's coming through the VAIO. YouTube should come through like that. Well, I can test it by opening something up in YouTube to make sure that I'm still getting... oh, they have an official trailer for Andor. Star Wars. Okay, but I do hear noise. And it's coming through the right speaker. I'm disappointed that I didn't get anything from a new squawk on that one. Wow. So Gamer Dream on my, price equals BS video, the first time I'm happy that YouTube algorithm suggested good video to me. I love your comment, dude. Omar. You know, the vast majority, I have to say, like, here, let me come over here and show you guys something here. Can I pull it through this way? Man, they busted highs there, and they're just going. Now there's some, they're pushing through some significant volume standing in the way. So we're going to come in here to Discord. What was it? Oh yeah, so I was going to show you. So if I come here to my analytics, go to audience, I'm wondering how much I need to oh, it's still not even showing me location. Well, let me come if I do like last 90 days maybe. There we go. Top geographies. So if you look at top geographies of my viewers, okay, it says 25% is from the United States. I think that that's because the majority of them are untrackable, right? 1.6 from the United Kingdom and 1.5 from India. Morocco, that right there, that must be completely Salim. But I get a lot more comments from people that appeared to be from like India, Pakistan kind of area, a lot. And I'm always quite surprised that there's that. I don't know if they're just more likely to comment or if they're a larger percentage of my audience than I realize. But I don't know. When I worked for Goldman, there was a lot of Indian people, and I really enjoyed being around those guys. The only thing I didn't like about Indian people was that they didn't have any sense of personal space when I was in the lunchroom. But that's a trivial thing. They were great to talk to. I guess, you know, I'm talking to like the richest Indians, but still, they were fun. Do you think that they continue up from here? Well, the volume on this leg up has just been so consistent and steady. When I got out, it was at, man, and I was in that for 25 minutes. 656. Oh, okay, so it wasn't too bad actually. Yeah. So I got out back at 02. I'm kind of sitting here going like, okay, so like, I probably should have gotten out when it snapped back up to 120 even. But I think that headline came through, let's see here, 650. Yeah. Yes. So if I had immediately reacted to the headline and gotten out, then I probably could have broken even, but I said, I don't know if this matters. Waited for them to continue pushing through me. So that kind of sucks that it turned out that way, but it's kind of one where surely you could predict orders, but it's a very discretionary, you know? Does Nancy Pelosi landing in Taiwan matter more? Well, I think that the takeaway that I should try and get from this particular situation, even though I personally don't think that Pelosi landing in Taiwan is really a big deal for interest rates. If she dies, then it's a big deal for interest rates. But otherwise, it is dominating the headlines that like people really want to hear and talk about that. And so for that reason alone, I probably shouldn't have underestimated its ability to drive orders, yeah? For that reason alone, I probably shouldn't have underestimated its ability to drive orders. I don't know though. What is your, well, okay, what would you rather have a poll about? Would you rather have a poll about Pelosi should visit Taiwan or that Pelosi will visit Taiwan? Or we could do all both. She will visit Taiwan, but she shouldn't. You want to do it that way? Let's do it that way. Create a poll. She will, but she shouldn't. Wait, did I forget how to spell Taiwan? No, Taiwan. Taiwan. Ask your community. I should go visit Taiwan. She's calling China's bluffing. I don't know about that. I think, well, so here's the thing. There was another lawmaker that visited Taiwan recently, wasn't there? Like somebody else visited. I remember them making a big deal over somebody earlier. I didn't do my punctuation correctly in all of the options. I apologize. Paper tiger, just like Russia, maybe. There is definitely, it's I don't think that it's so much a paper tiger, actually. Sharpened goose. Like, I think the reality is that Russia and China think that they're that strong, and they don't realize their weaknesses, right? It's one of those, they don't know what they don't know. Should I put it that way? You get what I mean, though. It's arrogance. It really, I personally believe that it's arrogance. I think that Russia, coming into Ukraine, that they thought that they were just going to plow through Ukraine and take it over in a matter of days, and the world would just stand by and watch, right? I don't think that in their wildest dreams they expected this to go on, 6-7 months now. No. And why? Arrogance, they don't realize all of the weaknesses in their military. But the thing is the United States made that same mistake, right? The United States thought that the Afghanistan army was relatively competent, that they had, decent stuff going on over there. And it turned out that their military was not nearly as large as they thought it was, because everybody just deserted. They were the guys were taking the money to pay for troops, but then the troops weren't actually signing up, and they just said that they had them anyways, right? This is why I get really concerned when I see this stuff in the news relating to disagreements over specific scientific studies. And listen, anytime that the government gets involved in saying this is what the scientific evidence says or doesn't say, I think you're running into a problematic area. And anytime that the politics could influence the science can put you in trouble, right? Can put you in a situation where it's harder for you to see the reality, right? So I'll give you an example of where the US did this, but we got away with it. Was that there was a full-on PR push for the vaccines. And I'm not saying that the vaccines don't work or anything like that, but the evidence that we have now is that the vaccines were not nearly as effective as we were told, right? Because everybody was saying, and I myself even believed this, that vaccines meant the pandemic was over, right? That's what we were all told. You get the vaccine and then you're safe. But now we're finding out that people get it anyways, and people still spread it after they've had the vaccine and all of these other things, right? If there had been another wave, that was really, as strong as that first wave, and where the vaccine didn't really help, that could have been really devastating, right? And many states were probably not prepared for any kind of setup like that, because they thought that it was over because of the vaccines, right? Or like here with the recession. As soon as I heard they were rolling out a new type of vaccine and the fact it was still in study, I chose not to get it. The thing that bothered me was that they had to use the emergency use authorization. In fact, it's like a year later and they're still on the emergency use authorization. That really bothers me. So you can't sue them if it was an emergency use authorization, right? It gets full on approved by the FDA, which apparently it is, but then you're not using the SKU or whatever it is that does that, right? So it was like you couldn't sue if anything bad happened to you. I was like, well, I don't think I want to give that up, even though from everything that I can see, the risk is low. I don't want to give up my ability to sue. Right? Like if they're not willing to give up their ability to, if they're not willing to give up their immunity from being sued, that kind of tells you something about it, right? I guess though, if they have the ability to do that, they would do it, right? You were a vaccine manufacturer and you had a way to kind of skirt the law so that you couldn't get sued. You would do it even if you had 100% confidence that it was safe, right? But that just really rubbed me the wrong way. No. Well, so in the beginning, it was under the emergency use. And then what happened was, man, this whole thing is really complicated. Yeah, I'm probably going to say something wrong on it, so I should probably stop talking. But there was kind of this period where, and I think that it may still be the case, that there's like two different versions of the vaccine, even though like what's in the vaccine is the same, but one is under the emergency authorization and one isn't. But my YouTube over on one side is not updating correctly. Oh, you know what? That was actually okay. So here's the thing. So one of the big things, because I never got the vaccine because I already had it. Like that was my things. I already had it, so I don't think I need it, especially not when it's like, there's not very many pokes available, right? But one of the things that bothered me was that I couldn't find very good information about which vaccine was better. That kind of bothered me too. But that's all besides the point, right? The point was it's a situation where, because the politics got involved in the science, you created a potential weakness there, right? We're just kind of lucky. We're just kind of lucky that it didn't end up mattering, right? And the situation that I think we're really, the reason why this is all relevant is because of the whole recession thing. Like, again, if you come in and you say, oh, we're definitely not in a recession, what's going to happen if in 6 months from now we are in a recession? Now the same people that said that we weren't going to get inflation and that we weren't going to have a recession are going to put out their plans, and these will be Democrats still at this point, will put out their plans to rescue the economy, and they won't have, they've already shot their reputation at that point. It is a real problem, I think, because it does appear to me that we're going to have to go into a recession. And if we go into a recession like that, there is a possibility that it could be a very deep one, and it could require a policy response. And we're going to have real trouble being able to come to an agreement about an actual policy response that will be effective, right? Like, if it comes to that point, there's always this point down at the bottom where it's like the market will just keep going down and down and down and throwing a fit until they get their stimulus, right? And Congress will have a very hard time coming together on an agreement for a stimulus, right? And part of the problem will be because the very people that we need to trust at that particular time will have shot all their credibility. It's a real problem. You're getting your politics involved in the definition of a recession. White House should never have said anything about it. Like, they're right, but the way that they came out and pushed against it was, I think, inappropriate. I think was inappropriate. Should have said, well, I mean, it's okay for them to say, well, this is who officially defines a recession, but we have had 2 negative quarters of GDP. But that's not what they did. They did like a full-on PR push to say that we're not in a recession. This is not smart, guys. I don't think that was a smart call. How much higher do you think that they can go here? Because that was a pretty good push further. Can you believe I did 696? Let's say 670. Oh, no. I was 696. I was all the way up in here. So let's just call it 2.7. That's a good $50. Yeah, that's a massive order in the 5-year. I never heard a click. Oh, I don't have one up for ZF, that's why. If I had one up for ZF, maybe I would have seen a click. What do I have? I should actually check in here. What do I have? Minimum size 2000. Let's change it to let's change it to 900. I'll save that workspace. So they have kind of ground into the like, this is the limit of our impact sort of thing. So I'm really curious now. I don't think I can make a call on what it's going to do next, but will they continue up higher? And what will the S&P 500 do on its open? It's okay. It was a small loss for me. I do kind of wonder if I should have flipped around. I mean, I guess the reason I'm asking the earlier question is, should I be going long here? Well, the timing's probably not right to take a long, nor is the price. I could maybe actually get 121.08, but I think that given the loss, it's probably better for me to sit for a little bit, try and collect myself and see what's happening here, because you get something like that, you know, you could get lots of little unexpected turns here, right? Mohammed A.L. Arian. Is that how you say his name? Arian? This morning's news of a larger than expected GDP contraction in Hong Kong is the sharp end of the set of indicators pointing to a general slowdown in Asia. There you go. There's the 08. That was a little quick, wasn't it? I was like, well, I think I can get 08. So they go right there. What? It's just like daring me to catch the knife. I don't know if I actually want to do that though, man. I'm kind of tempted to just go short here. I'm just gonna sit on my. I don't trust my feelings on this. I want to go short, and I don't trust myself. That's not a good sign for good trading, right? you call exactly to the T what it's going to do next, and that makes you less certain about what it's going to do next. That's not a good sign. Okay, now CNN is tweeting, Pelosi expected to visit Taiwan, Taiwanese and U.S. officials say. I don't know what the deal is with my main YouTube screen here, but it's not catching all of the... There we go, now it updates correctly. It's like, what's wrong with YouTube here? Okay. So let's see how you guys are doing. We've only got 4 votes. Come on, there's 16 of you. I want to know what you guys think about Pelosi visiting Taiwan. Tell me whether she will and whether she should. Right now, she will, but she shouldn't is leading the pack. I don't really have a strong opinion on whether she should or she shouldn't. I would say that my gut reaction, you know, just kind of like the what you want to say, the animal instincts inside of me says that if a country warns you not to do something, that you should do it just to show them that you can. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of leaning to she will and she should, but I don't want to say that because, well, just as I say that, a couple of you guys vote for she will and she should. I don't want to say that because if she does, and then there's a war, then I'm gonna look dumb. So I don't want to say that one. You know what I mean? Oh man, oh wait, it was a good buy-in. I mean, you get 2 ticks out of it. That's not bad. Politics. Listen, Peter. Politics moves the markets. We have to talk about it. Here's why we talk about politics. Cause I get it. I'm conservative. Like I probably have the worst politics for this sort of a thing. Because I'm conservative, so a lot of liberals are not going to like me because I'm conservative, right? But I also understand economics. So a lot of conservatives are not going to like me because they actually understand economics. Right? Like here's I'll draw you. Here's my perception of politics as they intersect with economics at the current time. Okay. I'm going to minimize this. I'm going to draw you a little spectrum here. Okay. So you've got, come on, give me a bigger one. Okay, so you got here, this is the right, and here's the left, okay? And then there are, I'm gonna put you as black. Oh, actually, let's make these not like, let's make them less transparent, okay? Okay, and then I'll use black here to represent, these are the areas of the political spectrum that don't understand economics, okay? There's like this section of the right over here. Let me undo that. I want that one to be with the transparent. Okay, there's this far left over here that does not understand economics, man. Like they do not understand economics, right? And there's the center. The center tends to understand economics mostly, hey, except for the very center, because they just want money. Okay, and then there's the right. Okay, it's like there's this small section of guys that are like in the middle on the right, but the rest of them, it's like they don't get it. Now these guys down here, I'm like way more concerned about because these guys over here want to think that they understand economics or at least understand that it's important, right? And they have these ideas that kind of they're too stuck on, primarily that the Federal Reserve is an awful thing, right? Whereas these guys over here want to just actively destroy capitalism, right? These guys are much more dangerous. These guys are much more dangerous. But so because that's my perspective, that kind of puts me in a situation where whether you are on the right or the left, I'm going to probably say something that you don't like. But we still talk about it. Why do we still talk about it, even though it might actually hurt the stream? Because it's an important part of trading. I would be doing you guys a disservice if I didn't talk about the politics and help you become informed, because that's a large part of how you become informed, right? Is talking about the issues and debating about them and so forth, right? So that you learn a lot from talking about those sorts of things. So yeah, is Pelosi visiting Taiwan, does it get into politics? It does. I notice when I go to the Donald's, they're all on the side of she shouldn't go. Donald Trump said that she shouldn't go. They seem to think that she shouldn't go. And they'd all be really happy if her plane got shot down, right? It is become a political football. But here you can see the market moved on the headline, guys. The market moved on the headline. Markets react to politics. They do. So we have to understand politics. We do. I think that some people have this approach to trading that, like, it's not politics. And I think that largely comes from this idea that you can trade the markets from just looking at the prices and looking for patterns and stuff like that, which also isn't true. You got to understand what's going on. By the way, on this move, the 10 years moving a little bit more than the other two. So I think that further supports the idea that this is a risk-off move because of Taiwan. Anyways, oil is taking a beating here, man. Down below 94 now. I think that when I got out of my old oil position, it was around 90, and exactly for this sort of a thing where it was like there could be risk events that push oil down really aggressively, and I didn't want to deal with that. I wanted to protect the profits I made. I should have held it, because then the Ukraine thing happened, but man, if I had gotten the Ukraine thing, I probably would have taken profits then. Not a comment on whether or not oil can go higher this year, just that I was too worried about these impulsive down moves, right? I don't really see, so like the 6J, well, the 6J kind of pivoted with the treasury market, right? And I guess gold did too, but it was very, very small move for them. Dude, when you look at the volume profile, that's pretty healthy volume down in here, man. Might help for me to change the volume profile out to be able to see it buys versus sells, but see if they actually made money. I'm gonna bet that the majority. Let's do it with cumulative delta, shall we? Let's see if I can get one from cumulative delta. I have to use tick replay, so it might not be completely accurate, but NY. One minute candlestick plus tick replay. Okay. Oh wow, don't need the chart to be nearly that big. Okay. And then indicators. And I will use order flow delta. Period, session, bar. Oh, that's right. I switched over to the different license that doesn't have the order flow plus functionality so that I could use Rhythmic. So I need to use this one right here. Cannot cumulative delta like that. Okay. So there was definitely some guys that tried buying it here just before the open that got slaughtered. Okay, maybe I do need to see it with cumulative delta. So there was some buyers all through here that got slaughtered. This move down, not so dramatic. Somebody tried buying here and dumped. But there were some guys from earlier on that got it right, that got paid in the end. So, it does kind of look like I was probably not the only person that got screwed over in this area, though. Right. They do appear to be having trouble with the liquidity hole at 09.5. I'm expecting you might not get another opportunity for a trade until these PMIs, right? Do we have some of this? Oh, yes, we do. Okay, so US S&P manufacturing PMI final. Looking for a reading of 52.3. That will be out in 10 minutes. And then we got the ones at the top of the hour with construction spending, new orders, employment, and so on and so forth. Oh, that's interesting. Somebody recently put a bid all the way back at 121. I don't know if that's a usual thing or not, but Mr. Topstep, this is not Democratic versus Republican, not my gig, but when Kun Wag sent me the videos of China doing live fire drills and saying they would shoot down her plane if she can with an F-35 escort, why do it? Have China sink a few flat tops and frigates, a lot of people will die. I'm telling you, dude, they're gonna use something that the Chinese can't see. Then what? They're gonna shoot actual missile at her on the ground in Taiwan? They're not that dumb. They're not that dumb. I shouldn't say that. Maybe they really are that dumb. Do you think that they're that dumb? I don't know. Let's go back to the poll. Okay, we got 12 votes. She will, but she shouldn't. Seems to be the consensus here. So it seems like very few of you at this point think that she won't go. But there's a good split between whether she should or shouldn't. It's about a 60-40 split, let's say, with the she shouldn't being the majority. Maybe we should change the poll now. China will attack Pelosi or China won't attack Pelosi? What do you think that's more likely? So I'm trying to get my bearings on this kind of issue because you can tell that clearly for me. Like, this is an instance where my impression of her breaking news was drastically different from everybody else's, right? I think that this is because I see headlines like this all the time and it's never a big deal, right? So a really good example of this was it was like in 2018, I think it was. The North Koreans were making a bunch of noise about shooting nuclear missiles and all of this and that, right? Nothing happened, but the bond market like totally skyrocketed off of that news. And that was like the top. Like from there, that was when interest rates really started rising, and they kept rising and rising and rising, and until essentially the whole Fed pivot in 2020, late 2019 or whatever, and then the whole pandemic and all that stuff, right? Yeah, I've seen this so many times where there's a big geopolitical story where there's an event where it's probably not very likely that Nancy Pelosi dies this week, but the risk of it happening is bad enough that the markets like really react to it, right? Her face will survive an attack, all silly. That would be something else if they did attack her and she lived, right? I don't think that they're gonna. And she's not the first major personage to visit Taiwan. Kind of sucks because I want to go visit Taiwan someday, and if they're just gonna shoot everybody's plane down, I'd like to visit China someday too. But I don't know if the CPP would like me. S&P 500 doing okay here off of the open, aren't they? It's not nearly enough from the decline that we had when it was all like, when did that start? 648. Yeah, so this decline was the Pelosi news. We'll see if the S&P 500 can retrace the Pelosi news. Mohammed A. El Arian. These two charts from the Wall Street Journal on U.S. disposable personal income and retail sales are reminders of the importance to distinguish between nominal and real indicators during this phase of persistently high inflation. So they're showing retail sales. Retail sales looks really good. But then when you adjust it for inflation, you can see that retail sales are coming off of their highs very, very quickly. It's not quite into like I'm concerned territory yet, but you know, did another spike like that one, that would obviously be terrible. But excellent observation there, Mr. El Arian. He's a smart cookie. Even though he's been wrong about some really big things, he's still a smart guy. Wow, really? Woo Blockchain tweets, Binance said they have lost 90% of customers after implementing Know Your Customer, losing billions in revenue. However, the data shows that its trading volume is still huge, even more than other cryptocurrency exchanges combined. Really? But that some of that volume maybe felt fake, right? Hmm. Some people like myself haven't transferred to the new US Binance website. I just need a VPN now to access my account. I get you. Well, like that's the thing. So this is something that really bothers me about the cryptocurrency world, is especially when I'm hearing them talk on TikTok, man. I made a video about Bitcoin yesterday because my valuation indicator does say that you're getting like the best price that you've gotten since 2017 on a relative basis. That was a really quick breakthrough higher there, and that's before the PMI knows you're in 30 seconds. Was there another headline? I heard my news quack say something, but they were just telling us about the news coming up. Anyways, they say that like this is about disrupting traditional finance. In what way has it disrupted traditional finance? The traditional finance companies have not lost a drop of activity of business from cryptocurrencies. Right? Everything that's come up from Bitcoin is entirely self-contained and only exists because of cryptocurrencies. Okay, so there's the number. It was 52.2 versus an expected 52.3. So it's just slightly under expectation. Not a big deal. Man, that was a 2K. I just saw 2K go through in ZB. That's what my cumulative delta is telling me. That was 2K through in ZB. What a crazy. Although the big order at 29. That's the same one. That's where the big order's been this whole time, right? Anyways, it's not really disrupting traditional finance, right? It's just they're drumming up new activity to convince people to get into the ecosystem so that they can make money off of it, right? And the fact that when you come in and you implement know your customer and all of the other regulatory normalities and everybody disappears, I think is really indicative of like where Bitcoin has a big problem becoming a competitor to the traditional finance system. They don't want to pay taxes, I guess. But like here again, same thing. It's like, okay, they just keep changing the definition of what Bitcoin is trying to do. That's really what it comes down to, right? Because the reality is the only reason that Bitcoin has any value right now is that you can exchange it for dollars, right? Under the original vision, you could just buy stuff directly with Bitcoin and you would never even need dollars. And you wouldn't have to worry about paying taxes, right? So in that report, with the exception of the pandemic lockdown periods, July saw U.S. manufacturers report the toughest business conditions since 2009. I made that video yesterday about Bitcoin because like it does show like a relative value, and I guess I thought like, oh, maybe we get some more followers off of that. It did appear to bring in a lot of followers, but a part of me is just like still wants to be completely divorced from cryptocurrencies. $121.13 still seeing very impulsive buying in volume here. That's gotta be, you know, earlier we were saying maybe these PMIs, maybe they could be front running these PMIs. I don't think that. I think that if anybody's front running the PMIs, it's the longs, because that report that we just got is kind of suggests to me that the larger ISM report is going to be bad, right? Kirby unreported Pelosi trip to Taiwan. We shouldn't be intimidated by China's rhetoric. Man. So here's the thing. They're saying she's going to land tomorrow. If she doesn't land tomorrow, then everybody's going to be like, oh, maybe she's going to land on the 4th. Right? Listen. A news outlet having the heads up on when and where she's going to go to Taiwan kind of suggests that any operation to get her there without the Chinese knowing would be kind of difficult to pull off, right? If they're doing their job, none of these leaks will be real. They'll all be saying, she's going to be there tomorrow and she's landing right now. You know what I mean? Feels like people try to add a meaning to crypto all the time. Yeah, well, the cryptocurrencies definitely got hammered along with the rest of the market because of rising interest rates and so forth. But we do have to realize that most of the movement in cryptocurrency is just a bunch of whales doing what they feel like, you know? Like when I come into the treasury market and we get a strong trend, it requires a very wide diversity of participants to all be going the same way to really get the treasuries to trend. But that's why the trends in the treasuries end up being so consistent, right? It's not the same thing with cryptocurrencies. All it takes is one person. So on Yahoo Finance, they're saying Apple TV never set out to win, streaming still limited versus Netflix, says analyst. Has a picture of the cast from the Apple TV show Severance, which I really enjoyed. I was thinking about this the other day because in Severance, they basically, what they do is what the employees at the place do is they have a bunch of numbers on the screen, and like a certain set of numbers will like give you anxiety, and then they kind of like cordon those numbers off. I was like, oh, this is kind of like what we do in trading. You get as many numbers on the screen as possible, and then, you know, if one of the numbers makes you feel something, you click it, right? I was writing that video out for like a rundown of my workspace, and I'll need to like do a rundown, like a cold run on it to see how long it takes me to go through. But I was like, as I was going through it, I was like, this is too much stuff, man. This is too much stuff to cover in one video. I have explained to people my workspace before, but it's primarily just like, this is the 30, right? This is the 30, this is the 10, 30, 10. No, that's not the 30. I've got it backwards. This is the 5, 10, 30. Yes. that simple. But I was starting to get into like all of the settings and stuff, because I was like, like it looks really intimidating and everything, but it's actually quite simple. Well, like reading it and everything is maybe simple, but to get the workspace set up the way that I have it, it's not. It's really complicated. There's a lot of settings, and I have a lot of custom stuff too. Now all of the custom stuff that matters, it's in the indicator package at speculatorset.com. And I, kind of reiterated to me like how important and useful that package is. And that I really need to do a better job sharing it with people and promoting it, because I really think that NinjaTrader users will benefit from using it. But man, it's just, there's just so much stuff, and helping people understand that they need it and teaching them how to use it and everything. It's a lot. It's a really big, difficult challenge. Well, they're trading some volume there still. See, I kind of wonder, all of this stuff about Taiwan and people's opinions about Taiwan, is perhaps that telling us more about them than the situation in Taiwan? Mr. Topset replying to Bart Smith, lol, China is all about act tough and then back down. And Mr. Topset says, I don't think so. The US has been warned and we are in their backyard. Now my news squawk says something about that Pelosi will visit Taiwan on Tuesday. Carl Quintilla tweets, a source from the Wall Street Journal. She's definitely coming, the person said. The only variable is whether she spends the night in Taipei. There you go. Trading Floor Audio highlights ex-New York Fed President Dudley, who warns wishful thinking won't help the Fed beat inflation. This via Bloomberg. Investors have lately become optimistic that the Fed won't have to tighten monetary policy much further. This wishful thinking is both unfounded and counterproductive, says Trading Floor Audio. Why is Pelosi doing the visit? Seems presidential, but what the hell do I know? Okay, like that's a really good question. So it turns out that members of Congress go and do foreign trips all the time. There was members of Congress in Ukraine lately. I mean, the thing is that the things that members of Congress do and vote on do have an impact on the rest of the world, and they organize trips. And this has kind of been there's a long history of senators and representatives doing this. I can't remember who the first one was, but they don't act in the same capacity as like like the head of state or the president, because the head of state and the president, they can do actual like treaties and stuff like that, right? So the president negotiates it and then Congress has to sign off on it, right? But Congress still wants to understand the situation in various countries and know what they can do to help and so on and so forth. So Pelosi visiting Taiwan is not, I mean, it's unusual for them to visit Taiwan in general. I don't know if she's the first U.S. representative to visit Taiwan. Let's see if we can find some. Oh, we got 2 minutes. I'm sure that there's like a list. Yeah, that's right. In April, a group of 6 U.S. lawmakers landed in Taiwan. Okay, so she's not the first one to do it even recently, right? But it is unusual that the Chinese are throwing such a big stink about it. Taiwan's foreign ministry says no comment on reports of Pelosi's travel plans and no further information to share with the media. Liquidity is thinning. So watch out. It does appear, I mean, I would expect the ISM numbers to be relatively significant this time around because that manufacturing data has been a really important leading indicator. And the markets seem to be reflecting that with the liquidity almost completely disappearing a minute before the news. So we should come back down through our numbers. Manufacturing PMI, we're expecting 52, and prices paid, we're expecting 73.5. New orders index 49 and employment index 48.2. So when this comes through, I need to make sure I understand all of these numbers because they all matter to us in the treasuries. Prices paid was 60 lower than the expected 73.5, but the headline number was 52.8 versus 52. The treasuries did sell there. Did you see it? Like, I wanted to try and go along with it, but I said no, let's read the numbers. And now that I'm reading the numbers, I don't know if that gives me a short trade. So again, I go through the numbers. Manufacturing PMI 52.8 versus an expected 52. Manufacturing prices paid 60 versus an expected 73.5. That is deflationary. That one right there might be an important point, but that's the one that's making me be like, I don't know if you sell this. Okay. Construction spending negative 1.1 versus an expected 2. Manufacturing new orders index 48 versus 49, so slightly under expectations. Employment index 49.9 versus an expected 48.2. So these numbers are a little bit mixed, but I don't think that they are just like sell it and it trends all day sort of a thing, like maybe that initial move was making me think. So I think that and then we still got the Pelosi thing, right? We still got Pelosi. Oh, this is a pretty big amount of volume both ways here. It kind of looks like the buyers might be winning out though. Okay, so hold up. If I come back here to my chart, okay, so yesterday's prices were 121.12 half. Okay, so 12 half is. Oh, the way that they came up, it looks to me like that they came off just because of execution impact. That was a strong push down now. This is curious. I shouldn't say I don't think, but my initial impression is that these numbers don't necessarily suggest sell treasuries, but we're getting some pretty aggressive and impulsive moves. Although the volume is kind of going both ways, and at the moment in the 10-year, it is long. Like the volume was overall long according to my metric over here at least. And look, there was just somebody there in the micros just bought a ton and just swept through the whole book. Man, oh man, oh man. They are to buyer's cost basis too. It's kind of getting to the point where I almost feel like forced to take a trade. How did you see the sweep? I just saw it out of the corner of my eye, and then when you looked here, can you see all of the volume through it? Somebody bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. It was probably a 16 lot, and they just hit it all at once. Okay, there is some aggressive buying pushing back. There are some platforms that make it easier to sweep the book. Yeah. Well, they're professionals. They can really do that, right? They've got all these things that will, like, buy everything that's on the bid and synthetic sweeps and things like that. There was like, you notice there was like 2 traded there. So if I had hit with the 16 lot, I don't think that would have happened. So if it really was all one order and as it was a sweep, it was more than just somebody placing one market order, huh? Because that one market order will just sweep all the way through the book until it's done, I think. Actually, I don't actually know. Maybe the Rhythmic and CQG do, have to do some stuff on their own on that side. I'm sure glad that I didn't just try, like, buying it back there, though, because they're definitely reverting back here quite a bit. The S&P 500 is pushing higher. So Spoos liked that news. I do think, I do kind of wonder that the prices paid. So again, the number that sticks out to me off of that news, U.S. ISM manufacturing prices paid 60 versus an expected 73.5. Let me come in here. Do I get for that prices? Yes, I do. Ah, it is. Okay, so prices have been above 70s since December of 2020. So to get a reading of 60 is like a really big contraction. And that, again, that does suggest that inflation is in fact moderating, right? So that's why I'm a little bit weirded out by the apparent aggressive selling in the treasuries. And of course, somebody really thinks that it means something, but somebody is pushing back the other way. I do not like picking sides in a battle like that, right? Man. Lots of spam today, guys. Come back down quick, though. I'm seeing some signs of a liquidity hole between 04 and 05. And we have been stuck in the mud there a little bit so far, so. Oh, let's look at our poll. Now we have 18 total votes, and now She Will and She Should is in the lead. If you combine the categories, it looks like She Should leads, but still only just barely. It's more like 55-45 now. I also kind of wonder, though, if you're not all saying that just because you want to see her die. Which, listen, I want Nancy Pelosi to have to live to an old age. Yeah. Also, I want to see Nancy Pelosi see stock trading get banned for congressmen, right? I want to see Nancy Pelosi and her husband, how they, if their trading changes when they ban stock trading for congressmen, right? And their spouses, and how they deal with that. What he does. Well, with the way this is trading, we could still have some opportunities. I'm not sure if it's up or down though. I think I'm leaning towards the long side. I'm leaning toward the long side. I don't know if the moment is right for it. There is a little bit of gravity down in here. Let's say it's at the VWAP. Yeah, suddenly they'll struggle to find hidden gems like Apple, Nvidia, Tesla. She would likely but she won't be allowed to stock trade at all. I think if they pass the law, I think what will happen is they'll just give tips out, right? Which is why I need to start making friends with senators, right? So I can get the tips. But the tip will be like, here's some public information. Like they'll say everything is public information. Here's where you can see and verify it, and I'm just telling you how to use it. That's what's gonna happen, and they'll charge people for consulting services on public information. That's what they do. How do you stop that? How do you stop that? Especially when it is truly public information, right? I'm telling you. Where are you getting that from, Walfer Walk? Gatebooks trader funding added to warning list. That is one that I've had a number of people complain about, but that I've never been able to verify the problems with it. I'm just not really a fan of funded trader programs in general. I think that Top Step Trader, they had a good idea. I think that they do believe in what they're doing, but it is kind of an exploitative model, and you can see all of these people trying to get in on it is not. Should have taken that one. I was thinking, I said I'm kind of leaning towards long, right? I could have taken the treasury short at like 2.67, something like that. Maybe it was 5.5. Either way, I could have made at least $10. I don't know if that was worth it. This thing is kind of hinting to me that they could see new highs, though. Right? So let's take it in with the sim trades. I'm not feeling. Top Step is the best funded trader company. I agree with that. Yeah. But note that the main reason I say that they're the best traded fund is because they believe in what they're doing and they have good people there. It's not necessarily because I believe in their business model. All right. Dude, this is giving me the... That opening reversal on ES was intense. Yes. So let's review what happened here today. Okay. Treasuries opened up and were pushing down quite aggressively. Liquidity was light, but it was a very strong trend to the downside. I actually had a good long in the micros. I was feeling pretty good about myself, and I was thinking, hey, the markets are going to have to come in line with Federal Reserve guidance, and we could get a good swing here. And then news came out that Pelosi will be landing in Taiwan on Tuesday. Now, note, this is not the first headline that we've gotten about this. There has been at least 2 other news sources claiming to have had inside information about Nancy Pelosi's plans, with one outlet saying Tuesday and another outlet saying Thursday on the 4th. Okay, and some of these reports have kind of contradicted each other. You have to wonder if Nancy Pelosi is actually going to go to Taiwan. They're going to be about as mum about it as possible for security reasons. They're going to want her to land there, and the Chinese not even know that she's coming, right? So that alone makes the headline suspect, but it does affect the markets. It did affect the markets, and the treasuries in particular pushed up quite aggressively and started breaking new highs. Okay. As that happened, the S&P 500 like, oh, lower rates, hooray. So essentially, the market is rallying on the possibility that Nancy Pelosi could die. Isn't that just the... If it's for tomorrow, logistics already landed there, it could be true, yeah. I sure enjoy taking the ride with you daily. I appreciate it, Mark. I have a lot of fun doing this. I would... Oh man, my life would be so much less full if I didn't have you guys. Like seriously. And you know, the thing that's always impressed me the most about chat is that so many good traders come in here. There really are some guys. Like, I don't necessarily attract all of the yahoos that are just like, buy GameStop, and I don't get the monkeys, but I get really smart traders. People that they tell me all sorts of stuff that I didn't know, and I know a lot. Like that's the thing, is when people tell me, I get really impressed when people tell me stuff about the markets that I don't know, because I just spend so much time trying to research and know everything. But the reality is that what I know is just teeny tiny compared to what there is to know in the market, and is very tiny compared to like what your average institutional trader knows, right? I wanted to take some off at 15, but I was yapping. I'm happy to teach people to trade small instead of blowing up 5K. Oh, thank you. Oh, you're a former flow trader in the options pits. Oh, okay. That's cool. I've been kind of looking around a lot. One of the things that's kind of gotten us more into some of these advanced topics is that I've been researching more about the phenomenon of there being a basis and all that sort of thing. Oh, you know what? I did take a contract off at 15. Oh, we're okay. We're okay. Anyways, but the basis, because I discovered that there is in fact a basis with the micro treasury yield futures. I'm trying to figure out if I can take advantage of that or not. I'm not so sure that I actually can. But it's interesting to me. And that kind of got us into talking a lot about other parts of interest rates, like short-term interest rates. There's a guy I think I want to try and interview somebody about the short-term interest rates. I've made a hit list, people that I would like to interview that are more on the interest rate markets that I think would be beneficial to you guys. So hopefully those things will be coming up. But and it's just interesting how when I start talking about those things, like people on the stream materialize and start telling me stuff. I was like, oh yes, okay, read this book. Oh yes, it's good stuff. It's I'm just so privileged to have such an awesome stream. Anyways, and I'm glad that at least somebody because a lot of the time when I say stuff like that, everybody's like, yeah, but you don't actually make money and all of these things, and I'm like look, You can come in and you can tread water, or you can lose it all. Which would you rather do? Right, start small, guys. Just start small, right? I could probably accumulate a little bit. I'll let's do 2 more in here. I'm not so sure that I want this if it goes lower here, so I'm just gonna take these. I also kind of think about, though, with the option pits, like that's got to be an interesting world doing it on the floor, because there's a lot of algorithms these days. Like really a lot of the money that's being made in algorithms right now is on the options, right? But it's a little bit different, you know, in some markets where there's like no liquidity, right? And you kind of have to negotiate with people about which strike price to use and stuff like that, right? That stuff's I find super interesting. I mean, I kind of wish. I don't think that I would be a good floor trader. I'm a small guy. I think that the main thing that would be holding me back from being a floor trader. Okay, I'm average height, but I'm very light build. But I wish I had seen it. You know. So I'm kind of jealous of you guys that had been floor traders. Challenge your traders to do the E-mini. Yeah, there you go. See, Mark is kind of the attitude that I typically get, which is like, what are you doing? Just trade E-mini? Trade full E-minis. You can do it with $500 of margin. Sure, you're over leveraged. Be a man. Yeah. That'll make the hair on their chest grow and fast, says Mark Eisner. No, it won't make the hair grow. It will just make it turn gray. Dude, you can't really see it, but I'm getting some gray in here. And my father did not start turning gray until he was like well in his 50s. So I'm kind of wondering here, have I overstressed myself? Because it's turning gray. Vinny Toretto said it best when he was in Havana. It's the bark in the dog, not the size. There you go. Give me 1 ping, Price Sally, 1 ping only. Sharpingus says he's already graying. It happens to the best of us. I kind of enjoy there's some of these streamers. So apparently I'm actually on the older side of the millennials and the streamers. So I got a bunch of streamers that I'm maybe like 2 years ahead of. Now, typically, because I live in Utah, I would have had kids for a long time, but due to various unusual circumstances, I didn't have kids until I was 35. But that still puts me like 2 years ahead of like most of the streamers that I watch, and they're just having kids, right? Some of these guys, like Harris, we're listening to Harris's music. I really like this guy, but Harris, you know it's coming, right? It's gonna go. And I don't feel like you have adequately prepared yourself to shave it all off. But someday you're gonna have to shave it all off, man. So I'm just warning you, buddy. I'm just you. 2 years in the future, you're gonna have to shave it all off at some point. Those I kind of picked up that those were probably movie references, but I didn't know what movies they were coming from. All right. Look at that go higher. Yes, sir. Just have one contract now and let it run. I don't know how much further this can go. Oh, is that from Hunt for Red October? Oh no, you're right. I totally, yes, you're right. It's the bark in the dog, not the size. Okay, but you know what? My dog barks. We had to get him a dog collar to try and get him to stop barking. Okay. And if there was a pit bull around, I would not let him out of my hands. Okay. wouldn't stand a chance against the large dog. Technical and fun streams. Dude, I'm glad that you enjoy it, Peter. Sometimes the streams, I don't know, we go back and forth. Right now, well, it's telling me 10 concurrent viewers. That might not be accurate, but you know what? Like, we're having a really good stream today, I think. But mostly, Peter, I appreciate when people notice the thing I'm trying to do that's unique, because everybody wastes their time with this. Man, I don't know how to say this sort of thing without being disparaging to like everybody else in the industry, but I just see a lot of people sharing nonsense and wasting their time with things that don't really matter, right? Price action and all that sort of stuff, instead of learning about the actual markets. And like, the thing is that I don't know everything about the markets. I feel like I know a lot compared to your average person. Like, again, that's the thing that's so crazy is that it's like, I feel like most, like 80% of traders are down here and like I'm right here, but like there are institutional traders that are like way up here. Like, the skill ceiling for what we're doing is just insanely high, right? And I don't know nearly as much as I want to. It's not imposter syndrome, it's just an acknowledgement of how sophisticated these markets really are. But that's what drives me so crazy about it, is there's so much to learn about it, and it is very, very pertinent information for our trading, and yet nobody talks about it. What's with that? You need to know the neighborhood you live / work in. The emotional self-control is amazing. Are you saying I have amazingly high self-control? Here, so here's the deal with that, okay? It's like, we can draw a graph here, okay? So there's a we'll use yellow here in a relatively small, okay? Treasuries and fundamentals aren't sexy for most. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so we're gonna draw a graph here, and the x-axis is going to be the amount of stress. Okay, and the y-axis, and the x-axis will be control that Seth has. Okay, control. Okay, this is my ADHD. It's like halfway through the word I forget how to spell. Okay, so the question is, how much control do you have compared to stress? Right? Theoretically, you would be like this, right? I think that most people, that there's maybe actually, like, you don't have, oh, actually it should be the other way around, huh? Should be like, as stress increases, the amount of control that you have decreases, right? And it might, oops, oh no, I shouldn't have done that. Okay, it's probably more of a curve like this, right? It's probably more of a curve like this, okay? But I feel like that the average person kind of has like a decent amount of control until a point, and then it kind of goes like this, right? And what I think happens to me is, like, I'm really good up until like this 75 percentile, like, when you get into a dramatic market, and then all of a sudden it's like good-ish, like I just completely bomb every time. Like the way that I've been dealing with this lately, and the main reason that I've been able to do, oh well, I'm not going to say that I've done amazing, but I've done much better over the last year than I have in the previous years. And the primary reason behind that has been that when things really hit the fan, I just hands off. I don't even get into the market, right? I say it's too volatile. I don't think I'm doing well. Like today, because there was opportunity for me today if I had gone long, right? But I didn't get the trade that I wanted, and I was just like, fine, I'm just not going to trade, right? I just tune out, essentially, and distract myself by talking with you guys. Where's my Dom here. Bring it back up. Okay, if you're I am using Rhythmic now. What is your symbol for the USD composite? No. Okay, so for my synthetic dollar index that you can see at the bottom of the screen, that is a custom indicator for that you can download in my indicator package at speculatorseth.com. Comes with a free 2-week trial, and then lifetime license is $100. One-time fee, $100. I'd take, by the way, if you've ever thought like, oh, I'd like to take advantage, I'd like to buy Seth's indicator package, but I'm not sure if the times at some point I'm going to have to increase it probably. So I would get it sooner rather than later. Okay. But anyways, and it works for both CQG and Rhythmic data, but it is a custom indicator they wrote. Right. Where's the wall? You have to have a wall / cliff where you fall off it. Yeah. Well, for me, it's kind of like I can handle 1 or 2 losses pretty okay, but the I've had many benders where it's like I'll go 10 in a row and I can't seem to catch a winner, and I'll have really bad periods like that. Even if I split it up, even if I'm like only taking 1 trade a day, it can go like 10 days losers. And I'll be like, what the heck is going on? Of course, in those streaks, there's usually a time where I could have made $10, but I didn't take profits or anything. You know, there's definitely those, but I'm just saying, my mind is that, because I am a little bit ADHD, right? And one of the big problems with ADHD is emotional regulation. But I'm on medication, and so the medication helps with your emotional regulation, but it also kind of suppresses the limbic system. So I am, in normal times, considerably more logical and cold than your average person, I would say. I have fun on stream and I seem pretty friendly. I had to teach myself how to be like I was off the medication, on the medication, and still be able to have good conversations with people. You get what I mean? Like that took practice to kind of figure that out. But that means that there is this point where it'll break, and it's so hard. And the only thing that I can do is just not trade it, right? It's so difficult to try and get back on track. For some reason, I prefer a Hennessy White. It's been a long road, I have to say. Probably overcoming ADHD has probably been one of the most difficult things of my life, and I still have problems on it. Man, this weekend, I got so much stuff done. I went and I got this thing. I went in and I got myself a little clipboard here so that I could, put my sticky notes on it. And because I always ran out of room on my desk. So I got these sticky notes, and I got most of what I wanted to do. Like, for instance, we had this desk behind us that was for the kids' computer, and I never intended on it being there forever. So we finally moved everything around and got that set up downstairs for them. A bunch of other stuff. I went to there's this wonderful place in Utah here where they sell like when a semi truck crashes, everything's on the ground, right? And then they sell all of the merchandise to these guys, and so they sell lost and damaged goods. And I went down there and I found a projector screen, because part of the thing with moving all the stuff downstairs was that my wife wouldn't be able to project on the wall the way that she wanted. So it's like, we got this projector screen. Now you got it. It's better than the wall anyways. Right? So I was pretty happy about that. I wanted to take pictures to get a better thumbnail for the stream. Didn't get to that. Kids came home and they were sick, so that didn't help. Felt really tired on Sunday. That didn't help. But I did do some writing. So I decided, okay, let's just focus on writing the next videos. I did some organization around getting every big, well, basically everything that you would need to get your setup to be exactly the same as mine, right? Which I think was too long and complicated, so I don't know how I'm going to break that up. But I don't know if that's going to be my next video anyways. I think that my next video needs to be about trading the Federal Reserve. So now I think I'm a little bit behind, but I think I can catch up today. So I still struggle with it. I wish I knew what was the cause of, like, sometimes I feel, well, it's probably my colon issues, but sometimes it's just like all the energy just gets sapped out of me. It never happens to me while I'm trading. We're usually able to get through that when we're trading. But well, I'd say we had caught a pretty good trade there on the bust higher and everything. I probably could have taken better advantage of it though. But we've just kind of been going sideways ever since then, haven't we? But I got a ton of stuff that I got to follow up on today. So hopefully that all works out. There's 14.5. I'm kind of wondering, well, we got 30 minutes. I think though that there's enough balance there that I will take the last contract off at 14.5 and just have myself be 250 plus 250. I do regret though not taking the trade here after the news I saw. I think this is going to snap back. It did. I should have taken that one. Maybe I'm too cautious. Right? That's again, that comes back to the control thing, is I've gotten myself into a period where I'm really nervous and cautious, and maybe perhaps overly so. So I'll end up taking a loss and then just like quitting and missing the good opportunities. So it's been some good trading today, hasn't it? For a Monday, good opportunity. I don't know how. I mean, these weren't trades that I saw coming and that I was able to take advantage of, but in terms of like movement and trend and everything, this is really good for a Monday, isn't it? Oh, of course, now that I take that off, then they go and they push higher, huh? That's funny. So what about the S&P 500? Do you think that they can continue up from here? I'm a little, I don't know. I really hate some of these moves where it's like, bad news is good, right? Just because I don't think those dynamics can hold forever, right? Like at one point, one side or the other side is gonna come back, and it's gonna be ugly, right? Well, we got 20 minutes left. Bad news is good. Oversold or too much short. That could be true, Peter. Like, I think that the analysts still, majority of them have their end of year targets down at like 3,400. So like considerably lower. But I do think that some of that like downside action, like I think it was really more like in March and April when it was really getting ugly, right? I thought that selling was like way overdone. Like even if you look at where the economy is now, it's still kind of like, well, it's not a complete disaster. It's just like there is the possibility of it becoming a complete disaster, right? Pelosi starts Asia trip in Singapore amid questions about Taiwan stop. What's this? Hu Shixin let her go to Taiwan but pray before departure, wish herself a safe journey and wish herself not be defined by history as a sinner who starts a spiral of escalation process, expanding military actions to a large-scale war in the Taiwan Strait. Yeah, okay. They are really beating the drums over there, aren't they? Volatility crush ongoing, yeah. Well, okay, so the Treasury's pushing another step higher here. You know what happened was I said this is balanced. I've got 30 minutes left. I don't know if it's going to go higher in that time. And I got out just before the next meta order started. So sometimes I wonder if the people executing these are watching me. And I'm unsure if they're like, I think that they're sitting there like rooting for me, but you know, they can't help me or anything. So they're sitting there like, hold on, Seth, just hold on. You got to keep it. It'll go up eventually. You just got to hold on. I didn't. And they said, fine, just he's out. Just go with it. Just run it. He's going to miss it. Sorry, Seth. That's what happens. That's what I think happens. I'm that popular. There's only 12 people watching the stream right now, but like 6 of them are at JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs, right? That's no, probably not. I still see some pressure there, man. That looks... You know, one of the things that's been fun about the action in the treasuries lately is that when the pressure's there, and they push those new highs and you get those crushing trends a lot. How did you know there was a meta order? That's a good question, Gemify. So here's the general way that I think about it. I don't know for sure that there is. I mean, it's kind of impossible to prove for sure that there was one unless you can actually see who's who, right? But I have a video about the stylized behavior of markets, and one of the most well-proven empirical behaviors of markets is that large meta orders follow a square root law. So when you graph a square root, it looks like this, right? It's kind of like that. It's kind of this curve. So essentially what they're saying is at first your impact is linear, but then as things go along, your impact becomes less and less relative to the amount of volume that you're trading. So you're going to see that reflected in price, right? So let's come back over to this other screen. I'll make one of these charts big. Okay, here's the treasury. Okay. Look at the way it curves. Oh, where did I just send my thing to? There we go. Okay, do you see the curve? So here's the down meta order. This is the one that I tried to jump on. You see how it kind of curves? And then you see the other way, it curves the other way. By the way, this is a case of the inverse sine law, right? If you have a meta order one way, and then you have a meta order that goes the other way, the orders here at the beginning will have more impact because of the damaged liquidity that you have behind us, and so that will move and push higher, right? So once we knew the Pelosi thing, I really should have gotten out earlier on the Pelosi thing, man. Okay, and then you can kind of see it again, a meta order here. Now they're trying to do another one. We'll see. Okay, but if you're getting a large meta order with multiple legs, you're gonna see like that bull flag kind of pattern, right? You're gonna see it like this, right? So that's kind of what I'm looking for, and that's why I'm saying it was probably a meta order. So here there was there was volume on this push. There was volume on this, okay? You can see it a little bit right there, okay? But it kind of died down really quickly. So how much further they can actually go and how much more there is to that meta order, we're not so sure. But that's kind of one of the things that I'm always looking for is like, okay, got a good trend. Is there going to be another leg to this meta order? If so, I want to catch it. Right. It's like a capacitor charge discharge curve. There you go. Anyways, so that's why I say that it was a meta order, but we don't know for sure. but I'm looking for a high correlation between price and cumulative delta with kind of that curve to it, right? And that has me saying, okay, those are large institutions or groups of traders all trading in one direction, pushing markets. Oh, that's the video that you found me from. Very, very good. Yeah, so now you can kind of see the practical application of it then, can't you, right? Now the key though is that by the time you see that correlation and you're sure that it's happening, it's usually too late. That's when you start to get stuck in the liquidity hole. So generally speaking, I want to know ahead of time, or at least at the very beginning. I could have taken advantage of the Pelosi thing. I wasn't fast enough. I was too slow on that one, and too slow, not I couldn't have clicked on it, but too slow to realize that the market really cared about that. Because when I first heard it, I just kind of scoffed. I don't think that matters. Oh, it mattered. The market cares about this. This is what everybody's paying attention to right now, so. This is how you gain tons of followers, Seth. Make a video showing how you made 25K off of, but no. Because number one, when I do catch a good trade, it's it's $50, okay? And number two, I don't want to attract a following just based off of people trying to chase. Because one of the big messages that I have is that in order to get around all of the noise that there is in markets, you really need to look for empirical evidence. Don't trade on something unless there's empirical evidence to back up that it's actually a thing. And when you rely on empirical evidence, you realize that 90% of the things that retail traders talk about are just noise, right? So if I start marketing based off of how much money I made on this one trade, well, number one, I don't think it'd be very effective because the trades that I take are really small. But number two is I'll just start attracting the wrong crowd. The guys that I really want to talk to that are previous, former options pit traders or fixed income traders are going to be oh, this is just the same old BS that everybody shares, and they'll be turned off. And I'll just get all of these, apes that drive me crazy. Right? So I don't want to do that. Easy there on to beat yourself up. There won't be anything left for the next day. Oh, it's just an acknowledgement of why I traded the way that it did. In the end, I'm glad that I only took one trade and then just kind of backed off. But, I was just trying to point out why there was a large meta order, but I didn't end up making money off of it, right? It was because I was too slow to realize that the market cared about that thing. And by that point, it was basically we were already too high. We were at 0.2. So I got out somewhere around, come back to this chart. I think that I was in somewhere from here. No, it wasn't from here. It was from when it started kind of going like this. So I got in somewhere here and I got out somewhere here, lost $10. I could have turned around and flipped, right? That bit right there was the profit that I potentially missed. And then there was another one where it was here and I could have made that. But by that point I was too pansy. It's too pansy. So I'm not trying to beat myself up. I'm just, that's the first question that you would ask. Oh, well, if you knew there was a mid order waiting, you'd take it. Well, mistakes were made, I guess. I wouldn't call them so much mistakes. Those are kind of circumstances that are really, really hard to deal with. But I really think the channel has been doing well. The thing that's amazing is that the activity has died down a bit. I went through a period where I didn't post as many videos, so that certainly helps. And it's the summer, and that certainly doesn't help. But the channel overall is still doing really good. We get 10,000 views a month, which is what? That's so crazy. And I've got a lot of stuff to do and opportunities. The reality is I just don't have enough time. Saw a video on Matt's channel. I think you went 100x leverage. Yeah, nice. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. Because ultimately I'm in it for like here's the thing is if I did that on a live account, wouldn't be really helping me, right? Like my primary thing is get better at trading, right? And then help you guys. And those two things synergize with each other, right? Once I start taking on inadvisable risks is where those two things stop complementing each other, right? Now all of a sudden my incentive is to just overhype everything and potentially get you guys into bad trades, right? And all for views, and I don't become a better trader. You get what I mean? Like it's not in line with my goals. It's not in line with my goals. But coming in and making a video about the treasury market, that's in line with my goals. Writing a book, that's in line with my goals. And we can talk about current events and what the Federal Reserve is going to do. And, you know, those are things that we can start to reach a more general audience that are interested in more than just trading, right? So we can still grow the channel without having to resort to clickbaiting people with large numbers. This is the good hard drum and bass track on the playlist. There's some decent icebergs supporting the bid there, man. 2,500 at 17.5. You think there could still be more? You got to be careful. Like an amount like that could be something where, well, have we already seen a push higher and then return? I think we kind of have. So that's an area you got to be careful about. Definitely wouldn't want to be buying above 17. But there's enough of a hole there that could blunt the momentum, and we could retrace a bit. Right. So let's we got about 5 minutes left. Let's just kind of take a better inventory of the market here. So the treasuries have all moved up, and it's a good 0.25%, 0.27. That's a pretty decent change for the treasuries. The biggest winner right now is the 6J though. 6J, the British pound. So it does appear that there was a little bit of weakness in the dollar. Dollar kind of all over the place today though. And then we got NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ seems to be leading the charge higher in the equities. Assets like silver, copper, corn, soybeans are all down. Actually, soybeans is down quite a bit today, and oil is really down today. Oil is down 4.7%. So this all kind of reinforces in my mind that this is a bad news is good move, that the S&P 500 is rallying because the economic indicators that we got were slightly negative. And the commodities are selling off because, presumably, because they see more economic weakness on the horizon. And then we have for day trading, if TA does not work and order flow has problems with economic data not working off and on, what do successful traders base their scalp on? We have 5 minutes. Well, okay, so things like technical analysis and order flow are not necessarily useless. They're just not predictive, right? They tell us a lot about what the current state of the market is. And they can give us kind of some like binary decisions at times to say, well, it seems like we can tell, for instance, when the market has kind of slowed down and is stuck in a rut, and we can see from there, well, okay, is the next big push going to be up or down? It's hard to predict, okay, from the technical analysis. But knowing that we're in that spot is a useful thing to know, because if you have something more, if you have a piece of news, for instance, like that Pelosi is going to land in Taiwan in the next hour or something like that, then you know that that's going to drive markets in the current situation. And you can trade off of that. You can try and predict how many orders are going to come through. That's the big thing, guys, is you want to try and predict the orders. So you don't want to just say they're going to be long. You kind of want to try and make an estimate of like, there's going to be 5,000 net contracts long, that sort of a thing, right? And so, but it does come down to, more simply put, you want to pull information that is not just generated in the market. Breaking news, sentiment, but things that aren't just being reported by the exchange. You want to pull that outside information in. And that can provide you trades and opportunities where you have a really good chance of predicting which way it's going to go. All right. And then if you understand what the current conditions are based on all of your technical factors, then you can make a very accurate prediction of how the action is going to play out when those orders come, right? Because if you know where we are, like where these liquidity holes are and things like that, that kind of tells you, well, okay, if we're getting a large meta order because of Pelosi now, it's going to snap back a lot harder, right? Because of the large down move that we had, because of the situation of the liquidity above us, right? So that's why you need to have all of those different parts. But the part that's predictive is the information that comes from outside of the markets, right? Or in other words, we're looking for predictors of order flow. Breaking news is a very strong and effective predictor of order flow. But there are other ones besides just that. It's not just breaking news, okay? Like, knowing how different market index funds behave and how they do their rebalancing and so forth, that can help you predict orders. Probably could have taken advantage of that on Friday, because generally speaking, the last day, first day of the month tends to be buying in treasuries. And I kind of thought that the news on Friday was more important, and it wasn't. But so we could have predicted those flows using those kinds of models. That's not breaking news, but it's not technical analysis either. You are still bringing in information from outside of the exchange. In this instance, the information is how these funds rebalance, right? So that's what you're looking for. That's what you're looking for. But TA, like here again, if what matters is the breaking news, and that breaking news just kind of comes, then why would there be any pattern in price, right? It is going to appear relatively random because you're missing the most important piece of data, which is what is the breaking news, right? Not that there couldn't be some persistent patterns in the order flow based on the way that people behave. Although if it was based on the way that people behave, those would probably be longer trend kinds of patterns. But such a thing could exist. It's just that, one, those can be taken out of the market very easily. Two, these moves created by other factors are much larger than those. So they end up not mattering. But there's another side to this, which I think I need to speak to a little bit more now. I mean, I kind of pushed this a lot at the beginning of the channel, and now I've kind of pushed more towards, I've taken the position of, well, let's show you what does work and what does matter, right? But there are still a couple of ideas out there in the market that I really want to destroy. Price action, in particular, like really drives me nuts, because there are so many people that are just absolute true believer diehards in price action, and they don't realize how they're being fooled, right? Because price action is technical analysis. They've changed the definitions around to make technical analysis be RSI instead of like chart patterns and candlesticks and stuff, right? But then on top of that, they've crafted a system that makes it impossible for you to empirically verify it, right? So the marketers, they kind of stumbled upon a brilliant way of doing it, perhaps unknowingly, right? Well, if it's all about a chart pattern predicts that we're going to move up or down, then I have to make it way more complicated than that, so that there's no way that you could really effectively test this sort of a thing, right? No hard rules, essentially, so that nobody can empirically disprove it. That's what I found about price action, and I would really like to push back on that, right? Show them, like, look, you guys can't actually program this and show me that it works. You can't produce a study that shows that it works. Call into question the whole thing. Plus, I think if I make a video that's like the problem with price action, I think that'll catch a lot of attention. So, well, we did have a little bit of a pullback. That was kind of what I was worried about, right? That was actually a little deeper than I thought it would be. Oh, I kind of wonder if, well, I don't know. There was some real volume behind that in the 5-year, okay? I still don't see anything significant out there other than, yeah, there's House Rep Pelosi is expected to visit Taiwan on Tuesday, says people familiar with the matter financial juice tweeting. There was some real volume on that in the 5-year. I don't know what was with that, but I suppose that a trip back to the lows of the day is not out of the question. But a lot going on here, man. Who gonna who? Yes. Pray before departure, says who. We're gonna have a crazy week, aren't we? It's time for me to go. I will put in the title, will Pelosi visit Taiwan? No. Yeah, I will call it that. Will Pelosi visit Taiwan? Sounds like you guys say, we'll end the poll here. You guys say yes, and she should, but you are pretty evenly divided between whether she should or she shouldn't. So we'll see how it turns out. I think that she'll land on Taiwan without China even noticing, and it will just kind of be like, haha, see, look, you can't stop us. I can only hope, because the alternative is that, like, we have a nuclear war. So let's hope that that doesn't happen. Either way, I'll see you guys tomorrow, unless they drop a nuke on us. I mean, I do live next to an Air Force base. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow. So stay profitable, friends, or at least don't lose it all.